Let's go ahead and hop into the lab for this port security video. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you go to the link in the video description below to download this for yourself to practice. So this lab, we're going to be configuring port security. We have our diagram here with two end devices and a switch, and we've been given a network. Our tasks, task number 1 says take note of the MAC addresses of the PCs on the screen and assign them IP addresses in the current network. So there's two ways we can see the MAC addresses in here. Packet Tracer will show us if we just hover over the device. You'll see we can see the MAC addresses on the right side of the pop-up. But in real life, you'd probably hop into the computer and go to a command prompt, and you can issue the command ipconfig/all. In here, it'll give you all the detailed information about your computer and its networking connections, as well as the physical address, which is the MAC address right here. So we need to take note of this MAC address right here for this device. Let's go ahead and write that down. First, we're going to top this, which means that this screen won't disappear. And we'll grab our little note maker right here, and we'll type 00002 or 0002.17ba.708e. Okay. Now we need to hop into the other computer and take note of its MAC address. Here we go. Go into the command prompt, issue the same command, ipconfig/all. Go ahead and click this top so that the screen won't disappear when we click off of it. Go ahead and mark that MAC address down, 0060.5ce1.67e3. Perfect. Go ahead and get rid of that screen. Now that we've got those MAC addresses down, let's go ahead and assign IP addresses to both of these devices. So we can see here that our network is 172.16.0.0 and that our switch already has the first IP address in that network. So let's go ahead and give this top PC the second IP address at 172.16.0.2. 255.255.255.224 is a /27, and we'll leave the default gateway empty for now because we're not going to be connecting to the internet. Next, we'll grab our second PC. Go ahead and hop in the IP configuration. We'll give him the third IP address, 172.16.0.3, 255.255.255.0. And that should be it for task number 1. Moving on to task number 2, configure port security on port F01 to only authorize the top PC to connect. Configure the violation mode to shut down and the maximum addresses to 1. Alright, so if we hop into our switch here, go ahead and get into global configuration mode. Then we'll hop into interface F0/1. Now, before we can put port security on a port, the port has to be specified as either an access port or a trunk. Because these ports are only connecting to end devices, we're going to make it an access port. So we'll go switch port, mode, access. Then we can go ahead and issue switch port, port-security. And then we can go ahead and switch port, port security, MAC address. And we'll go ahead and specify the MAC address of that computer. Now, if you're not sure of the format, go ahead and hit a question mark, and it'll tell you you want those 3 sets of 4 with dots in between. So we'll go ahead and go 0002.17ba.708e. Enter. Now it wants us to specify the violation mode to shut down and a maximum addresses of 1. So switch port, port security, maximum 1, and then switch port, port security, violation, shut down. Perfect. That should be all that we need for task number 2. Moving on to task number 3, it says shut down the rest of the ports on the switch. So we go ahead and do a show IP interface brief. We can see all the ports on the switch. We have 1 through 24 and then G01 and 2. So we can go ahead and use the interface range command in global configuration mode. We can go interface range F02 through 24 because we don't want to shut down number 1. We can do comma G01 and 2. And that'll put us in the range of all those interfaces. And then we just hit the shutdown command. Now if we issue that show IP interface brief again, we can see that all of these interfaces have been shut down administratively by us. Moving on to the next task, it says connect the authorized PC to the port, issue a ping command to the switch, then view the port security overview and details. So let's go ahead and grab an Ethernet straight through cable here, hook it up to PC 0, hook that up to the switch on port 1, fast forward this so that we're green and green on both sides. Then let's issue that ping command to the switch's IP address, ping 172.16.0.1. And there we have successfully pinged the switch. Now let's exit out of there, go back into the switch, and we're going to do show port security. You can see that there's one address configured on this port for F01. Now if we do show port security interface F01, we can see more specifics about it, like how the last source address or MAC address is the MAC address of that first computer that we connected to it. Moving on to the next task. Task 5 says connect the unauthorized PC to the port, issue a ping command to the switch, then view the port security overview and details. So what we'll go ahead and do, we'll just take this cable off of this PC and hook it up to this one. Fast forward to make those interfaces come up. Then we'll go ahead and issue a ping command. And while we're doing this, let's watch these green triangles and see what happens. So ping 172.16.0.1. And immediately you notice the interfaces went red. That means they got shut down, because obviously this computer is not authorized on that port. So if we hop back into the switch, we can do show port security, and we can see that we had a security violation. And if we go into show port security interface F01, we can see that the current port status is secure shutdown. Moving on to the next task, 6 says reconnect the authorized PC to the port, and notice the line status is still down. Okay, so let's move this cable back over to this computer. And we do indeed notice that the line status is still down. Task 7 says bring the port back into a functioning state. So the easiest way to do this is to go here into our switch. We're going to go into global configuration mode, hop into interface F01. We're going to do shut, no shut. And that'll bring the port back up so that now our authorized PC can be connected. So that was a really quick overview of port security. I hope that you guys were able to get something out of this video, and I hope that these videos have been helpful to you as you've been trying to learn more about networking. Stick around for the next one, and we'll see you next time.